Support for WPR comes from the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection with Something Special from Wisconsin, a program that connects consumers with Wisconsin-made products. SomethingSpecialWI.com. Support for WPR comes from Rutabaga Paddle Sports, committed to offering outdoor clothing and camping gear to get people outside, on or off the water. Test paddling at 2620 Rimrock Road. RutabagaShop.com.
Great to have you with us on WPR News. Larry Mealer here, starting the show today by taking a look at astronomy with our old friend Paul Kinzer back with us. He's the author of Stargazing Basics, Getting Started in Recreational Astronomy, and Paul's a member of the La Crosse Area Astronomy Club. He's been with us for quite a long time. Over the years, we've talked with him about a lot, and today we're going to hear a bit about sunspot. That's a senior citizen, I guess we could say. We'll look at how to see Mars, Saturn, and Venus in the night sky. We're going to be talking about light pollution at night and a whole lot more. And, of course, we want to hear from you with your questions, maybe about optics, maybe about the night sky. Give us a call. The number's 800-642-1234. 1-800-642-1234, or send an email to talk@wpr.org. Paul Kinzer, welcome back. Good to have you with us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Just the other day, I was looking back myself. I think it was 18 years ago. Was my first 18 years ago. Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, which astronomical events do you look forward to this summer?
I always look forward to, whenever somebody says summer, the Perseid meteor shower. Yeah. Now this year, a meteor shower is when we pass through debris left behind by a comet when it went through, and so every August 11th, 12th, 13th, we pass through a bit of, I believe it's Comet Halley, that people say Haley, but he would have said Halley. And the number of meteors you might see goes up quite a bit. Sadly, this year there's going to be a pretty big moon in the sky, which means you just won't see as many. But it's just something to look forward to. Otherwise, just getting out, and I won't lie, the next few weeks are kind of the worst time of the year to go out because the nights are so short around the summer solstice. It really doesn't get what they call astronomically dark until about 11 p.m. And by 4, it's definitely getting light again. So
Yeah, I'm up at about 5:30 every morning, and so I get to see a little, but not as much as in the middle of winter.
Yeah, right. I mean, I tell the kids, I travel around with my planetarium, and when I'm at schools in the winter, I always say to the kids, okay, after supper tonight, go out and look at the night sky. You can't do that now.
Oh, well, why should somebody give stargazing a shot if they've never tried it? And wondering, is it worth losing the sleep over? I think it is.
I absolutely think it is, especially, I know I'm not a deer hunter, but I know, people have deer stands they go up in because deer don't look up.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think people often look up either. It's there. It's the entire universe, and all you have to do is tilt your head back when it's dark out. And even if you're in the middle of a city, not so much like Chicago, but even there, you can see the moon, you can see planets. Sadly, you can't see any stars. But especially here in Wisconsin, we have so many places. If you're out on vacation, traveling around, camping, we light our fire, we look at the trees, we look at the animals, we go on hikes by the creeks. Well, if you're up when it gets dark, just look up.
Look up.
Yeah. And now with smartphones especially, if you're wondering, what is that? There are so many apps out there that you can get for almost nothing. You just point your phone at the sky, and it'll tell you, what is that I'm looking at? And then, if you're curious, you can just search for more information on it. That's sure changed since when I was young.
Yeah, it has indeed. Same for me. How much can you see with the naked eye? Of course, you can see the moon. You can.
It all depends on where you are. If you are in a dark place, far from city lights or, frankly, even farm lights, one of the darkest places I've been anywhere near here, and it's not that near, it's like a 9-hour drive, is the sand hills of Nebraska. They don't even have farms out there. They have ranches because it really is sand. And if you drive off the road, you need to get towed out. Ask me how I know. But it's so dark there, you can read by starlight, not moonlight. I was able to read just by the brightness of the stars because the human eye in real darkness can really get used to the dark and see pretty darn well. But even one light kind of wrecks that. So in that kind of light, you can see thousands of stars at any given time. And in the summer, this is one of the wonderful things about the summer. The Milky Way just spans the entire sky. And people who've never seen the Milky Way, if you haven't, and you are going to go somewhere dark this summer, I really encourage you to look up and tell yourself, that's hundreds of billions of stars. Some of those stars are only a few trillion miles away. The closest star is 4 light years away, and a light year is how far light travels in a year. It's a measure of distance, and it's almost 6 trillion miles. So the nearest star to us is about 25 trillion miles away. That's the closest. There are stars you can see in the sky that are thousands of light years away. So if you look up and you see that cloud, the Romans named it the Milky Way, and to them the word way meant road. It's kind of a straight line in the summer across the sky, and it looks like a road, and it kind of looks like it's made out of thin milk. And it wasn't until 1609 Galileo aimed a telescope at it, and I imagine said, "Mamma mia," because he was the first person to know that's stars. Those are stars, and he could tell where he was looking. Not hundreds or thousands, millions. And again, we now know it's hundreds of billions of stars.
It's amazing. We're in something now called, I think it's called solar maximum.
Yes. The sun goes through an 11-year cycle. Again, right around the time of Galileo, he saw spots on the sun using one of the first telescopes. He didn't put his eye to it. Please don't do that when you're looking at the sun. He put a piece of paper or something at the end of the telescope, and an image of the sun appeared, and he could tell there were little dark spots on it. We have been keeping track of those sunspots ever since for over 400 years. And we have found that pretty much, it can vary a little bit, but every 11 years it goes from bright to dim and back to bright again. And by bright, I mean lots of sunspots. And we now know that when there are sunspots, there's lots of activity going on the sun. It's when we're more likely to have northern lights. It can actually affect satellites, artificial satellites.
What is a sunspot?
It is it's a magnetic storm on the sun.
Okay.
And I don't quite know what that means. And it looks dark, but it's actually not dark. It's just everywhere around it is super duper bright. So it's just dimmer and seems dark to us when we look at it. But it's where magnetic fields are just kind of acting crazy. And it can lead to things called flares and coronal mass ejections. That corona is the outside of the sun. And parts of it can get blown off the sun. And sometimes they head right for Earth. And about 2 days later, it's 93 million miles away, so it's going very fast. Little tiny bits, hydrogen, ionized hydrogen, just, protons, neutrons, they smack into the Earth's upper atmosphere, and that's what causes the northern lights.
And they're beautiful.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And again, in the last couple of years, we've had some pretty major shows of northern lights.
Yeah, we could see them even in Madison.
Well, last year when my wife and I went to southern Illinois to see the solar eclipse, we met some folks there from Mississippi who had seen northern lights a few weeks before that. So, yeah.
Paul Kinzer, our guest, as we talk stargazing with him. Paul's the author, as a matter of fact, of the book. Great book. It's titled Stargazing Basics, Getting Started in Recreational Astronomy. Questions for him or comments? I hope you'll join in. Number to call 800-642-1234, or you could email us. The email address, talk@wpr.org. I'm Larry Mealer for WPR News. Talking stargazing today with Paul Kinzer. Great to have him back. And if you have a question or a comment or maybe an experience to share, question about the stars, the planets, the optics, I hope you'll join in at 800-642-1234, or you could email to talk@wpr.org. I want to hear about this sunspot 4100. And this sunspot, I think in the press they're calling it, and maybe elsewhere, a senior citizen.
Yeah, somebody, maybe more than one person, but this person has taken pictures of it. It's now crossing the face of the sun for the third time. The sun spins around in a little less than a month, and it's kind of hard to say just how much because it's not a solid thing. So parts of it rotate faster than other parts, but about a month. So if a sunspot comes out, if you're looking through a telescope, it can be either right or left, but it comes out on one side, and then over a period of several days, each day you look at it, it's moved a little further. And the way I look at it, my telescope, it starts on the left, and 5-6 days later, it goes away on the right. And often, a sunspot will come out, and it's tiny, and by the time it goes around the other side, it's huge, or the other way. Well, this one's been very stable, and this is the third time it's gone around. And the reason that they think it might last even longer is, unlike most sunspots, this one has been very stable. It isn't getting bigger. It isn't getting smaller. It isn't spitting stuff out. It's just sitting there, and it's got a ways to go. It's been there for 54 days now, and the record holders are 121 days for a sunspot in 1840 and 41, and 134 days in 1919. So it's got a ways to go, but I didn't know this was a thing. I had heard about them going around another time, but never 2, 3, and those other ones 7 or 8 times. So,
yeah, amazing.
It is cool.
David in Madison has something relating to sunspots, so let's go there. Hi, David. David, are you there?
Okay. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, amazing.
You there?
Yeah, turn your radio down.
Still there.
Okay, let's see if I can turn it off here. Okay, hear me okay now?
Yep.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, I was a presenter at a Natural History Museum in New Mexico, and we used to cover sunspots quite a bit. And I was just hearing your guest there say he wasn't sure exactly what a sunspot was and why it was so dark. And the explanation is that, it's a magnetic storm, and when the magnetic field lines get tangled up, they tend to get really close together, and they drag all the surface gas together. What it's doing, it's compressing the surface gas so tightly that instead of it all being ionized, so it'd be single protons, or essentially single ionized hydrogen atoms floating around, they squeeze back to being molecular so that they bond to each other. And what that means is it drops the temperature. And like he explained, the lower temperature makes it seem darker. It really is incredibly hot. So you're talking about a difference between a surface temperature of like 7,000-8,000 degrees versus a surface temperature of like 5,000 or 6,000 degrees. So it's still bloody darn hot.
Yeah.
It's cooler, so it looks dark.
Well, thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you, David. That's you always learn something on this show.
And it's going to be something that I'm going to add to my little facts in my head that I now have. Thank you for that.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it very much. Brian in Marquette, Michigan has something different. Let's go there. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Larry. Yeah, so I one summer I worked as a backcountry ranger on Iowa Royal National Park, and this was in 2016. And I mean, I've seen Northern Lights before, and like quite a few times, but that was probably like the most ridiculous amount of Northern Lights I've seen in my life. It was about once every week and a half I was seeing them, and there's a couple cases where I was looking up and they're all shimmering, and it was like very ghostly, dancing across the sky, all different colors. But I had to go look south to go see them.
Yeah.
Which kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool and wanted to share.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. And we're getting more and more looks at them too, because especially newer phones, they see light at night better than our eyes do. And people will show me images, and I'm like, I saw those northern lights, but I didn't see those colors. Well, the phones are more sensitive to that, and now nearly everyone, not me, still don't have a smartphone, but most people, oh, look at that, and they take a picture of it and they put it out there and share it, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great story, Brian. I've thought back to my most favorite one, and I've probably told this on the air, but I was fishing in northern Wisconsin, and I was in my cabin. I realized I hadn't done some things. I woke up in the night, and I thought, I got to get down to the boat and make this, whatever it was I was doing. I think it had to do with the battery for one of my motors. And I get down to the lake, and I look up, and it's just, the sky's full.
You looked up.
I looked up. And it was sometimes they're not real bright. And this one was really bright with colors. And it was amazing.
I say we take pictures of them now. Now we have ways of knowing when maybe they're going to happen. But to me, one of the mysterious but also really cool things is we never really know. You're like, well, there might be, there might not. Oh, look at that. And then they're suddenly super bright. We won't know what colors they're going to be. You can't predict what the pattern they make is going to be. So it's unlike a lot of astronomy where you can get a map that was made 50 years ago and it will show you where the stars are. They've moved a little bit, but not much. The planets, we know exactly where they're going to be. But things like the northern lights, meteors, comets, things happen in the night sky that are surprising. And that's something I love keeping track of, too.
Yeah, absolutely. You can join in, too. Number to call, 800-642-1234, or you could email us to talk@wpr.org. Love to hear from you. And you mentioned planets. Let's talk about what's in the night sky right now. Mars, we got Mars, Saturn, and Venus. What about?
Jupiter was, I almost don't want to mention it because it's so low in the west now that in the next few days, maybe already, it's setting with the sun. But Mars is still out in the evening sky, and you can find it. It's in the western sky after the sun goes down, and you can still tell it's Mars because it's sort of orangey yellow. And then if you want to see other planets, you've got to wait until 2:30 in the morning. That's when Saturn will rise. Saturn went down with the sun a month or two ago, and now it's coming up a little before the sun as it went around it. And it's rising at about 2:30, and about an hour later, Venus will come up, and you can't miss Venus. It is the brightest thing in the sky after the sun and moon. Or it can be, and right now it's quite bright. And it is closer to the sun than us, so sometimes it can actually get closer to us than any other planet, 25 million miles. A lot of people think it's Mars. Mars, the closest it gets is about 35 million, and Mars is much smaller, and Venus is closer to the sun. It's about the same size as Earth, and it's covered in clouds. All of that makes it very, very bright when it's near us in the sky. So that's cool.
Yeah, it is indeed. One of the things that I know you're passionate about is saving our night sky.
Yeah.
there are a couple of threats, I think, to, one is light pollution, of course, and something you call space pollution. Let's talk light pollution. Well, you go ahead.
Okay. I really wanted to talk about this when I'm on here now because a month ago, I was in my little town, Galesville. I was invited to be a presenter at their annual Environmental Day. And this year, their theme was Environmental Heroes. And I tried to think, well, what can I do? Because they kind of wanted us to, if we could, think of a way that the kids themselves could be environmental heroes. So I went and I talked to them about light pollution. I'm a sustaining member of Dark Skies International, the group in the world that is doing its best to get rid of light pollution. And light pollution is any light that isn't needed. That, we need light at night. Yes, of course we do. But not as much as we have. And we certainly don't need to shine it up in the air where it's just a waste of electricity and it destroys our vision of the night. It's bad for animals. It's bad for our own health. And it blinds us. We can't see as well at night. Animals, honestly, some of them don't know what to do. They're even finding now that there are trees, when their leaves grow, when they fall off, they're confused.
Some research on that in London that really precisely showed that.
Yeah. So anyway, I went there and I brought a flyer from Dark Skies International. It's a very simple thing that shows different kinds of lights, lamps, the things we light up the sky with. Some are good where they, like on my house, I have a light that is on a timer. It only goes on when somebody's moving around in the yard. 1 minute later, it goes off because I don't need it. And it only aims the light downward. It doesn't just not aim it upward. It doesn't aim it straight outward either. I often think, and I said this to the kids, if you had a neighbor who was playing music really loudly, you would call the police and they'd come and say, turn it down, and they would. But I've had a neighbor's light shining all the way through my house for every one of the 20-some years I've lived in that house. It's on all night long. It's a kind of light called, and this is a trade name, the Yard Buster. And it shines straight through my house, even into my backyard. And we don't recognize that. And this was so new to the kids, they hadn't thought about it. And then we went on a walk outside the school. And we looked at the lights on the school, in the parking lot, on the street, and talked about what could we do. And they were so excited. And it was like going on, a nature hike where they were excited to point things out. Oh, look, there's one. That one's, I think it's not very good. And it was just really a joy for me to see how easy it is for them to get it. And I heard from the school later that several of them wouldn't stop talking about it, or at least were talking about it the next day, which is really cool.
Well, so that is definitely something any of us can do.
And there are so many ways. Dark Skies International, if you go to their website, just do a search for that term, they have so many very easy to read flyers and information and like sample ordinances you can take to your town city council to say, here's what we should be doing to limit light pollution. And the thing is, it saves money. You don't need the lights to be as bright, and every bit of the light that's shining up is just wasted money. So we now have the technology, we have the designs to just stop this. And we are. There are more and more what are called dark sky certified sites. Dark Skies International, parks, cities. There's a Native American tribe. I just spent a month in Arizona as an astronomy volunteer at Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument, and they are working to become a dark sky park. And they have to go through certain hoops to do that. They have to make sure their lights turn off at night, that they have the right kind of lights. And they're going to get there. So that's something that's happening too.
We have tree cities, we have bird cities.
And now we have dark ones.
And now we have dark ones, and that would be something I would think could, with a little publicity, could get going.
I would think that a county, a park, a city that work toward that, even if they haven't made it yet, if you have a dark night sky and you want people to come visit your town, to me, that's a point to make, because most places you can't. Most people in America have not seen the Milky Way.
The other part of that was light pollution and something you call space pollution.
Yeah, I don't know that there is a term other than that for it. I just made that up. In the last decade or so, and it's growing exponentially, humans around the world are launching rockets into space on a daily basis, it seems now. There's a website or a YouTube channel I go to, Scott Manley, and he covers pretty much every rocket launch once a month. And he used to take 4 minutes. There'd be like, one or two or three. Now there are 20 or 30 a month. And China and the U.S., SpaceX especially, they launch, I think, more than pretty much everyone else put together. At least China might be getting up there now, too. And I do want us sending things into space for communication, for science, things like that. But now most of those satellites are going into things they call constellations, where a single country or a company or the Defense Department of a country is sending up hundreds or even thousands, or even they plan to send tens of thousands of satellites into low Earth orbit. And it's ruining science. Astronomers are saying one of the things we have some telescopes that are full-time doing now is hunting for asteroids that might hit the Earth. The dinosaurs were wiped out, but even one far smaller than that there was one in 2013 that blew up over a city in Russia. If it had been coming in at a little steeper angle and hit the city, maybe 1 million people would have died. And we didn't know about it until it happened. But now we have more and more instruments aimed at the sky. Well, these satellites are getting in the way, and that's just one way they're getting in the way. And I am not aware of any regulatory, international or even national regulations that limit them, that look at them, not just what they're doing to the night skies, but all these rockets are leaving all sorts of stuff in the atmosphere every time they go up. Studies are showing there are little tiny particles of all sorts of things getting up there, and that might be messing with the climate. So, some rich people who want to be richer, and I just feel like some of it's happening because they can, and I'm not a fan.
Paul Kinzer, our guest today, talking stargazing with him. He's the author of Stargazing Basics, Getting Started in Recreational Astronomy. Questions for him or a comment maybe relating to dark sky. I hope you'll join in. The number to call, 800-642-1234, or you could email us to talk@wpr.org. Got an email from Mary. How do you go about getting help setting up a Celestron telescope?
Well, they make lots of different ones. First, I'd say most of them come with a manual that tells you what to do. But I know that if you've never done it before, so many of these things, they're like, well, now you do this. And you're like, I don't even know what that is. I would suggest looking for your local astronomy club. In the La Crosse area, we meet once a month, and you're all welcome to come. First Wednesday of most months, look up LCAAS, the La Crosse Area Astronomical Society, which is a mouthful. And I believe, tomorrow night we're having our meeting, so people are always welcome. And we love, and I know all astronomy clubs do, we love it when people come in wanting help. I can't count the number of telescopes that I've gone over with people and said, here's a problem. There's something wrong here or there. And if you don't know, you don't know. And so we love to help.
There is something called a strawberry moon. And the full moon this month is called the strawberry moon. Why is that? And is there some way that the moon will actually look kind of pinkish?
No. Though the names that we give to the various full moons, my understanding is those typically come from the Old Farmer's Almanac. And they got them from Native American tribes who had a name for moons throughout the year. I mean, harvest moon is easy. The harvest moon is a full moon around harvest time. And I could show, but I cannot use words to describe. Some full moons are different than others. At that time of year, the full moon rises sort of slowly, and it's big in the sky, and it makes harvesting way easier, and it rises around the same time every night for 3 or 4 nights in a row. So good name for it. But there are other ones, the hunter's moon. It's, November-ish.
Yeah.
So that's where those names come from. And I'm not really familiar with the strawberry moon and where it originates, although maybe it's because is this the time of year when wild strawberries are ready to eat? I don't know. At least you didn't mention the blood moon. I have a little trouble with that. It's a lunar eclipse. It doesn't look like blood, folks. It's just a marketing thing. So I guess go ahead, call it that.
Well, let's. I wanted to talk about your book for a minute because we often don't get to that, but I like your book.
Yeah, I like it too. The sad thing is, Larry, it went out of print a few months ago. Yeah, you can still get the ebook, and of course you can find it used. A lot of libraries have it. I wrote the book again 18 years ago, and I was blown away when Cambridge University Press said, "Yeah, we'll publish that," because it was the only book, and in some ways still is the only book that really is aimed at absolute beginners. I assumed no knowledge of astronomy, the night sky, optics. There's a really extensive glossary in the back, so if I do use a term that maybe is unfamiliar, just look in the back. All of those are in bold the first time they appear in the book. And I also split it into 2 almost equal parts. The first part is, how do you look at it? I talk about naked eye observing and what might help you with that. Then I go to binoculars, and then I go to telescopes. And I set a price of $600 as a maximum for a beginner, because you literally, just going online, if you wanted to, you could spend $2 or $3 million on your first telescope in its mountaintop observatory. But you don't need to. In fact, 600, like I said, is the maximum. And then the second major part of the book is explaining what's up there. What is a star? What is a planet? How far away are things? What might you be able to look at? What's a star cluster? Things like that. A galaxy. All of those terms that you might not be familiar with. And then again, it ends with the glossary for unfamiliar terms.
It's really, really good. And when you talk about $600, which is more in my price range, Lee Rayburn might go for our technical director. He might go for $1 million. But
Yeah.
What are we really looking at?
Well, and again, the second edition of the book came out in 2015, and there have been some huge developments. I think a major one is smartphones have really had an impact on naked eye astronomy, where you don't need a book anymore. Although when you're looking at your phone, you can get apps that'll keep it red, keep the light red, so your night vision isn't ruined. that's one. But there's now these things, I can't remember, there's kind of a term for them. You don't look through a telescope in an eyepiece. The telescope has a camera, and it shows you a picture. Less expensive ones, under $500, will, through Wi-Fi, send an image that the telescope takes with its camera to your phone. And it takes like a 10-second picture and then another one, and it uses computer software to add them together so that the dim light, say, of the Orion Nebula slowly builds up. And at first it's dim and gray, and after a couple of minutes, it's beautiful and looks like what it looks like in books. And the other thing this thing has is you just go here. You turn it on. You have to upload an app onto your phone the first time. But then it uses GPS. It knows where it is. It knows what time it is. It knows where everything is in the sky and goes right to it. So that's a whole new way for people to look at things. And it's especially good for people who maybe have, like I do, mobility issues in using a regular telescope and trying to aim it and all. It's good for people maybe whose vision isn't what it used to be. So that's a new big one. And the first ones that came out were many thousands of dollars. And then this company that I really like, ZWO, ZWO, a Chinese company, started by an amateur astronomer who is extremely responsive to people saying, hey, you could make this better by doing this. And literally a few months later, boom, there it is. He came out with that one that at first was $600, and I've seen it for $350 now. So that's an exciting new thing. But what I do in the book is I talk about optics, and I explain what do you want to look for. And the main thing you want to look for in a telescope is aperture, the lens or mirror. The bigger you can get the main lens or mirror, all other things being equal, the better it is. And depending on the kind of telescope, you could get bigger or smaller. And I explain all that. It's a little much to go in here, but there are so many choices.
And at a reasonable rate.
Oh, yeah. And if you're like me, I have never bought a new telescope. The used market, there's a thing we call aperture fever. Somebody gets a telescope and they go, I want a bigger one. And so the one that they bought first, it's sitting there not getting used. So I need to raise money for my bigger one. And so that goes on. And they may go down in the expense of buying them when they're used, but they're a telescope. If it's 150 years old, it's still, if it was good then, it's good now. So, yeah.
Paul Kinzer, our guest today. Great talking with him about stargazing and what's going on when we look up in the sky. You can join in. The number to call, 800-642-1234. Love to hear from you. Or you could email us to talk@wpr.org. I'm Larry Mealer for WPR News. Taking a look at stargazing today with Paul Kinzer. He's the author of Stargazing Basics, Getting Started in Recreational Astronomy. Been a guest before, as we were talking about earlier, for 18 years on the show. So it's always great to have him come by. Join in, 800-642-1234. Email to talk@wpr.org. And let's go to Ed in La Crosse now. Ed, thank you for calling. What's on your mind?
Okay, he had mentioned that the club meets the first Wednesday of every month. My question is, where do they meet in La Crosse?
They meet at UW La Crosse's. My microphone. They meet in their science building. I'm not remembering the name right now. It's in the basement. It's right by the planetarium. If you go online and look for UW La Crosse Planetarium, we are in the classroom right outside that.
And sometimes go over to the planetarium?
Sometimes we've been doing this thing where during a part of the meeting every month, some of the meeting it's business. We're a nonprofit and we need to do that. But we have been watching a series on astronomy from an organization called Crash Course, which is run by some people I really, really enjoy. And it's just going through astronomy in little 10-minute bites. And we go and we watch that in the planetarium. And often when we do, and I know, or I'm convinced, if somebody said, hey, can you turn it on? One of our members is the director of the planetarium. In fact, he founded our club long, long ago in the 1970s. Bob Allen is his name. So, yeah, I hope we see you there.
And what time?
7:15, although a lot of us always seem to get there at 7. Parking is difficult until after 7 p.m., so don't come too early because you might get a citation.
Do you guys have a website?
Yeah, again, if you do a Google search for LCAAS, the La Crosse Area Astronomical Society, I think lcaas.org, but don't quote me on that. I always just, I have it saved. So, yeah. And that will show you our schedule once a month. We also have public viewing where we go to 2 different places, one of which, again, will start to be the Galesville Ettrick Trempealeau Observatory, which I helped get built, and it's under some pretty dark skies up between Galesville and Ettrick. And then there's a site we go to near to La Crosse, and we do that every other month, and we do it every month we can, although we don't go out there in the middle of winter usually.
Yeah. So there you go, Ed. I hope you show up for the next. Well, the next meeting is tomorrow.
Yeah, and again, if you look up online, it'll show you when the meetings are. We do outreach events, and we're also always there if people have questions.
And Lee Rayburn says lcaas.org is correct.
Okay, very
so
good.
So there we go. Carl in Madison shot an email in. Sometimes he thinks he sees satellites flying over during the night.
Yeah.
What do satellites look like in the night sky? Are there any websites that can tell you what you're seeing? Or?
Yes. The brighter ones, like the International Space Station, but also, the Hubble and other things like that. There's a website. There are others. You can go to NASA and search there for satellites. I don't have it at my fingertips, but there's another place called heavensabove.com. It's heavens-above.com. And if you put in your zip code or whatever, there's a thing there that will show you various satellites. It'll show you when the ISS, the International Space Station, is going to go over you for the next, I think, 10 days, and what time it will appear to the second, and where in the sky it will be, how bright it will be, and it's pretty cool. The ISS you can't miss if it's crossing the sky, but a satellite doesn't. The way to tell a satellite from an airplane, some people say it's how fast it's going, but airplanes, they really vary depending on how high they are, how fast they look. All airplanes have a blinking light on them. No satellite does.
Oh.
And satellites go across in a stately way. And they might get dimmer or brighter because what you're seeing, because you can't see them really in the middle of the night, what you're seeing, the satellite that you're looking at, is having the sun shine on it. And you're seeing the sun reflecting probably off solar panels, but reflecting off the satellite down to your eyes. By the middle of the night, our big ball that we live on is in the way. So they're still going over, but you're not seeing the sun shining off them. So that's the way to find them.
How fast are they actually going?
In order to stay in orbit, something has to go at least 5 miles per second, 17,000 miles per hour. And what it's really doing is it's falling around the Earth. It's falling towards the Earth, but it's going so fast that the Earth curves away as it falls, and it just keeps falling around the Earth. And if it was going a little slower, well, it would drop.
Fall.
And if it goes over 25,000 miles an hour, bye-bye, it leaves the Earth. That's how fast the Apollo spacecraft had to get up to get away from Earth's, they call gravity well. And so some go faster than others. Some are in higher orbits. Some don't look like they're moving. They're in what's called geostationary orbit. and they're above the exact same spot all the time. That's where weather satellites are and communication satellites. So you don't really see them, even if they were bright enough to see. And I don't know if any of them really are with the naked eye, but they would just look like a star because they don't move. So
John's wondering about binoculars. How well can they work in place? Yeah, and frankly, I bet that a lot of people listening have a pair of binoculars.
Sure, most people do.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up because it usually often gets left out. Binoculars are wonderful. They allow you to see a better look at the moon. You can kind of make out craters. And I'm just going to quickly talk about the best ones for astronomy. The lens on the front, the objective lens, the lens aimed at the object you're looking at, the big lens, you want that as big as you can comfortably hold. They make binoculars that are pretty huge. Most of the ones you're going to find in Walmart or wherever, or sporting goods stores, the biggest are probably, they have a 50 millimeter objective lens. That's about 2 inches. You want to get that. And there are a lot of them now. They have zooms and all this stuff. You don't want that. You don't want super high power because usually it's digital and kind of crummy anyway. But 10 by 50, 10 means how many times it magnifies. 50 is how big that is. That's the best. 7 by 35 is fine. Any binocular will show you more than your eye can see. But those are just some recommendations. You can see a whole bunch of really beautiful star clusters, and you can see the color of the stars much better through binoculars than your naked eye. And there are things you can barely make out with your eye, like what's that fuzzy thing? You aim binoculars at them, and that big old lens can take in way more light than the pupil of your eye, so you can see things you can't otherwise see. There are dozens of galaxies other than our own you can see. Sweeping across the Milky Way with binoculars is really cool. So yeah, lots of stuff. You can see 4 of Jupiter's moons with a regular pair of binoculars. You can't quite see Saturn's rings. You need a small telescope for that. But yeah, very, very, very cool for astronomy.
It's something probably 90% of the people have at least.
Yeah, and again, you going camping, you probably have your binoculars with you. Just aim them up and turn off those bright flashlights.
Rebecca in Woodville emailed us. Her husband died 3 years ago, had a battery-operated telescope. Doesn't know the brand off the top of her head, probably 25 years old. She wonders, now she never used it. She'd like to sell. Is there a way to sell a used telescope? Every time you took it outside, it would automatically find the current location of heavenly bodies. It was very cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to recommend another site called cloudynights.com. One word, Cloudy Nights. It's where we astronomers go when it's cloudy. They have a classifieds section, and I think it gets probably more views than any other. And you don't have to pay money to put stuff up there. Check that out. They also have so many forums on every kind of astronomy there is. If you're a beginner and you don't know anything and you want to know something, go to Cloudy Nights. There are, so many of the people there are people like me who want to share their love of astronomy.
That would be, and she'd want to have as much information as she could about the brand and whatever.
Well, a really good thing for her to do would be to maybe post a picture of it somewhere and say, what is this? And get information that way. Yeah, very good idea.
That makes a lot of sense. Paul, this is always a lot of fun.
It is.
Thank you so much for being with us, and let's work on 19 years.
Yeah. I'll be here. I'll be ready.
Paul Kinzer, author of Stargazing Basics, Getting Started in Recreational Astronomy, our guest today. Just quick, tomorrow on the show, David Drake and Jamie Knack are back to give you some wildlife news, and we'll also be interviewing the new secretary of the Wisconsin DNR, Karen Hyun. And it'll be our first time talking with her, so looking forward to that as well. And of course, a whole lot more coming up next. We're going to take a trip to Oconto. I'm Larry Mealer. Thanks for joining us today on WPR News. Larry Mealer here. And our next segment, we're visiting the city of Oconto. You're going to hear about the town's history and what to do if you go. And we have a couple of guests for you. One of them, Samantha Routheau, is president of the Oconto Chamber of Commerce. Sam, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you.
With us as well, thank you for joining in. With us as well, Gary Zahn. He's an organizer of an event called Copperfest held in Oconto. It's coming up pretty quickly here. Gary, great to have you with us as well.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
As we talk with our two guests, I hope you'll join in. Maybe you have some memories of visiting or living in Oconto. What do you love about the community? What's maybe your favorite park or restaurant or business? Give us a call. The number is 800-642-1234, 1-800-642-1234. Or you could email us to talk@wpr.org. That's talk@wpr.org. Well, you've got an event coming up this weekend, Gary. It's called Copperfest. Why is it called Copperfest, and what kinds of things could we see and do if we go?
It all started back when you discovered the Copper Culture Park with bones and from the previous long time ago, and back in 1982, they decided to have a copper culture museum. And then that's when they started the Copper Fest, which was just a little downtown thing that started back then. It had just music, and then they started getting entertainment in, and ever since then, it's just been known as Copperfest.
Okay, so we got music, and we got entertainment, and what else can we see here? What kind of music do we have, and what do we see?
We have easy listening music, no heavy metal stuff, because the neighbors would get mad where the park is located. That's always been a tradition with us, making sure they don't have the head banging, because they do not want their signs, there's mirrors and wall hangings knocked off the floor, off the wall, and I don't want to get run out of town either. You know, Sam knows about that stuff.
We keep the peace.
Oh, and how long have you been involved in Copperfest, Gary?
In 1996, my wife and I took over the parade, and we instantly switched the parade route from the end to end the parade at the park, where we have our festivities. Also, back then, the property that we have was for sale, and a local businessman named Jim Nernhausen purchased the property for Copperfest, which we eventually turned it into Ner Park because of Nernhausen. And then just a few years ago, he passed away, and the property went up for sale, and the Copperfest Committee purchased the property. So now that is known as Copperfest Park. And then just a couple of years ago, a local organization helped drain tile it. So then we named it Oconto Copperfest American Legion Post 74 Park. Say that real fast 7 times and see if you can say it again.
Well, Sam, how long have you been involved and lived in Oconto and maybe been involved in, you're president of the Chamber of Commerce, so you must have been around for a little while.
A little while. I've only been with the Chamber for probably going on 6 years here. So not too long, but I've born and raised. So I'll give my age out. I'm 39. So I know the area pretty well.
Sure, yeah, 39.
Almost 40, you guys, almost.
All right. Well, let's say a friend of yours wanted to take a day trip to Oconto. Sam, what would you recommend that they do in the area?
I would say that we have a full day for them. Usually we start out, we have some pretty good breakfast spots, right? So come hungry. Between the Shop on Main, River City Diner and Smokehouse, or Coppertown Bar and Grill. They're actually all fairly new owners, so they have a fresh new vibe with all of them and some really delicious, unique plates to try. So starting with that, and then I would send you downtown. We have a lot of cute boutiques that they can go to. We have Secret Garden Floral Design, so she's got her flowers, but also gifts and galore in there. We have a brand new clothing boutique, Blackbird. She is just a couple months in, so she has lots of good inventory and a fresh look as well. And then our staples would be the pet shop, the candy shop, the men's shop. So we have a lot of those cute little, they all have a vibe too, all similar families. And then Classy Kids Boutique. She has resale of kids' clothing. So we have a variety of really cute knit shops.
I think I said earlier that Oconto's slogan is "History on the Bay."
Yeah.
Can you talk about the history for a little bit more? I read that there are 33 sites on the National Register of Historic Places.
So we do. So we have a walking and bike map that's available at local shops. So you'll be able to go walk or bike down Main Street. You'll see a lot of old Victorian homes. We have the Christian Science Church, Copper Culture State Museum. You don't need a state park pass to get in there. It's just free. And then the Beyer Home Museum and Carriage House. That is a really unique visit as well. They have the old Victorian home all redone, but then also they have a carriage museum next door that has a lot of cool artifacts and just things from the city of Oconto and Oconto County in general.
So the copper history, can you go back to that? Because I think that goes back to the earliest residents of Oconto, the Native Americans.
Yeah, they have, so Copper Culture Museum, so the park itself is really big, and then they have a museum and a pavilion out there. In the museum, you'll find a lot of old artifacts and different things that they have found back in there, along with some good reading and a couple new, they redid the Copper Culture Museum this year. So you'll see a lot of different variety in there from previous experiences.
And I want to go back to Copperfest for a minute because I forgot about the dates and so forth. It's this weekend, isn't it?
Yes, it actually starts on Thursday night with our kickoff breakfast and our kickoff Grand Marshal crowning of Miss Copperfest banquet. It used to be on Friday morning for breakfast, but as the years went on and less attendance, we switched. My wife came up with the idea for this, and it's been a hit ever since. Besides that, no matter what the weather is, we can still have it. And then the festival starts actually Friday night at 4:30 to 11, and then Saturday from 10:30 till 11, and then Sunday from 10:30 till 5. Plus the parade, Copperfest parade, starts at 10 o'clock over on the middle part of town, and I'm trying to figure where I'm at here. And then it ends at, like I said, it ends at the park.
So, and that's on Saturday, I presume?
That's on the parade is on Saturday. Yep.
You know, I've been to a number of parades that they're always fun. What kinds of things are you going to see in this particular parade?
Well, our theme this year was Disney. So you never know what the people come up with. We've got a very creative bunch of people in Oconto that have excellent ideas on how to work that theme into their business, you know, and it's been fun the last 29 years. And my wife really gets into this. she's very, very patient, and she sets everything up so you don't have, a loud truck next to a band or animals with a loud vehicle, and she just loves doing it, and she's enjoying it.
Actually, we'd gotten a question. How does one organize a parade? It sounds like a lot of moving parts. And how do you decide who gets in to be in a parade?
Well, we don't have no admission fee, so anybody that wants to get in the parade can. They can enter all the way up to the start of the parade. The problem is if they call too late, they won't be able to get in the front, of course. But like my wife says, she asks what are you going to have, the length of your float, and then she will strategically place in spot where you have it.
So she's probably pulling her hair out about at least at some point ahead of this.
Well, she's got enough years into doing it. She's just becoming a master at it. But the thing is, we usually average about 30 advance entries. And then the last week and a half, we usually get about 40. Because a lot of people check the weather. Oh yeah, we have a kind of a tradition at Copperfest that one day there's usually moisture from the sky that comes out. We're not our committee is not allowed to use the RAIN word 3 weeks prior to Copperfest, or they have to buy a round of drinks. So everybody behaves themselves and don't bring their wallet, And then last year, I don't mind getting up when I'm setting up the parade, putting out the numbers, and I don't mind getting a little shower to wash off the parade route. Well, last year the parade route got washed off completely throughout the whole parade, but it wasn't a total washout though. It was just a little enjoyable moisture from the sky. And Sam knows what I'm talking about.
I feel like it was the best one though. People get into that, right?
It was.
Like you got to make the best of it.
Yeah, we had so many. We had I'll just say 70 entries. 69 showed up. One didn't, but then we had one added in that came in at the last second, so we still had our 70. So
I don't think I've ever been to to a parade where there wasn't at least one band or musical group that marches along in the parade. I imagine you got some music there too.
We do have it. Last couple of years, the Marinette, Lena, and Oconto high school bands got together and marched in the Lena parade, the Marinette parade, and Oconto parade because the seniors all graduated and they're not going to come back. So they kind of merged together, and it was great.
Yeah.
Great, and we have a couple businesses that have family bands, and some play DJ music, during the parade route too.
Yeah. The city's website, we take a look at that. There's also great fishing in Oconto. And maybe, Sam, do you know that to be true? Talk about that for a bit.
I still haven't figured out how to catch them, but
Sam eats them more than she catches them. Me too.
I'm just a sampler. I don't do the beforehand, but they do have phenomenal walleye fishing. Usually, that first start of the spring season is their walleye run, and even myself can catch one at that time. But otherwise, throughout the whole year, we have a variety of walleye fishing tournaments that come in as well. Some larger ones and some smaller ones. So we are a very popular destination for those fishermen.
I think aren't there a lot of lakes? And well, you got the river right there.
Yeah, yes. Yep, we have the Oconto River and it flows out to the bay. But in general, Oconto County, we have a ton of waterways.
And somebody else is wondering about Breakwater Park and Harbor. Could you talk more about what is it like, and is it worth a visit?
Sure. So the city owns the property out there, so they have tons of slips for rentals. But at the same time, they have the long causeway, so you can kind of drive out there, check out the bay. You can fish from it, different things. They have some extra piers that pop out just for some fishing experiences. But it's just a beautiful area, sunrises, sunsets, and then the dockside, which is a family restaurant, is right across the street. So it is a beautiful setting altogether if you just want to go relax for a little bit and catch a bite to eat afterwards. The dockside will actually, if you catch it, they'll cook it. So if you bring your fish fresh in from the water and you clean it, they will cook it up for you that night right away.
Because all the fish have Oconto on the side of them, so they know they're not bringing in foreign fish.
Pre-stamped.
Oh my gosh! The last time I had something like that, I was let's see, I was in Tobago, in the Trinidad and Tobago, and I caught a couple of nice fish there in the waters, and the restaurant cooked them up for me. And but I didn't have to. I did have to get them out, but other than that, they did the rest. So that's kind of a cool experience, actually.
Yeah, we have trout pond for Copperfest too, that the kids can come in and catch them. And we have a sportsman's club that takes care of cleaning them for them, so they just have to take them home when they're ready to leave. So that's always fun for the kids.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Well,
sticking with the fish down.
Tell us more about the candy shop, Sam.
Candy shop. Okay, so one of my favorites. It is a kind of nostalgic, looking for that old-fashioned candy, if you want to say. If you go in there, every candy from your childhood memory will be there, and a variety of the new stuff, like any sour galore, all those weird random insects in the candy. They have cotton candy cakes, really delicious chocolates. They're not made there, but they do have a beautiful chocolate case in there that has a ton of variety for you.
And go ahead, Gary.
We did tell our parade entries if they run out of candy, the candy shop is about halfway through, so they can always reload for the rest of the parade route if they need some.
She's always got a full stock, so she'll definitely take you up on that.
Oh yeah, that's another one of the kind of the favorite things. That some of the parades, they don't do it anymore, but that candy throwing out for the kids, and maybe
it's called candy toss. They have to toss it. They can't throw it. Can't throw it. It's against the police rules. We try to be law abiding citizens in Oconto, especially if you live there.
Oh man! Well, I wanted to mention the Ruins Adventure Mini Golf. Now I play golf, but I also like to go to mini golf as well. The Ruins Adventure Mini Golf sounds like a great place to spend some time. You recommend it? Why?
I recommend it for sure. So the Ruins is going on their 10th year in Oconto. So they have an 18-hole golf course, a mini golf course. Everything's all growing up now. The trees, the flowers all around it. It's just a beautiful setting. It's across the street from the Oconto River. It's very family friendly. They have a couple decks for you to sit on. If you just want to have some ice cream, they have some Wisconsin-based ice cream that's amazing. And then usually on Saturday nights, they'll start doing glow golf. So right at dusk, you can get in there for your glow balls and your glow sticks and everything else, and you can do glow golf for date night. And then throughout the season, she'll have different things for Father's Day, say, coming up. Fathers usually golf for free. And always something unique or some type of special event she has going on there. So if you check out her Facebook page, you can always see all the cool stuff that she has going on.
One other thing, and I want to bring this up because it's not coming up this weekend like Copperfest is, but there's Martin Fest.
Oh, yeah. That's new this year.
June 28th. And I noticed you're a bird city, Oconto, if I'm not mistaken, has that designation. And I was kind of intrigued by that because you've got the Wisconsin Purple Martin Association is going to be there, and the Bluebird Restoration Association is going to be there. Are you familiar? I'm sure you're familiar with it, but...
Yeah, so they're going to have that this year. out at City Park. And City Park is just kind of like out on the bay, out on County End. So it's a really great setting. I would say for kids, families alike, this is going to be very educational based. Lots of demonstration, lots of hands-on activities for kids to get out there and learn about Bird City and learn about the birds that are in our area, and just fun activities all in general for the kids to do.
Yeah, that sounded like a lot of a nice thing to take part in. And it's June 28th.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the last name Martin to attend either.
No, it is free. Everything will be a free-based scenario, so there's no charge for anything to get in or do any of the activities.
Very cool. You know, I was thinking back about 15 years ago. I think Highway 41, the bypass was built that directed traffic around Oconto instead of through it. I imagine that had an effect on local business a bit. And I'm wondering how
a few businesses it affected, but a lot of people that came through Oconto knew where everything was.
Yeah.
What Oconto had to offer. The motel is just off the road a little ways. There's the gas stations, the restaurants are just off the highway, so people still can stop in and say hi and get something to eat also. So. Yeah,
and. What were the industries that brought people to town? What kind of industries you have? Obviously, you have recreation industry going sort of loosely among all of the operations.
We do. So between recreation and tourism, very big during our summer months. But our major employers are, I would say, very solid industries and manufacturers here. So, for instance, NERCON has a very, the longevity there and the amount of people that retire 40 plus years is amazing. We have unlimited graphic management, cruisers, yachts. Those we can all watch them go down Main Street as they go test them in the water. They're multi-million-dollar boats, and they are just stunning to see, especially in the Copperfest parade. They always put one in there. They're beautiful, and to have them made in Oconto is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I have to plug Maternal Plastics too because that's who I work for.
Sorry. You'll be going back and you'll be getting yelled at.
Yeah, I'm in the truck right now, sitting here in the parking ride, advertising as cars go by. They say, "Hey, look at that guy over there."
Oh man! So the last minute here, what are the best things about living in Oconto?
Knowing Sam.
Knowing Gary, I think that small town, homey feel. I think we all have a pretty good understanding of each other and try our best to work together to improve things as volunteers. That's what makes the world go round.
And we have Miss Wisconsin come every year, and they get together and they talk about the fun places they've been, and every one of them has said they really enjoyed Oconto the best because we treat them like family. And I believe that. That's because they are just down to earth and they just jump right in and help, do whatever they want to help us, So.
Well, I tell you what, it's been a pleasure talking with both of you, and good luck this weekend with Copperfest. I know it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope a lot of people stop by, no matter if it's Copperfest or Martinfest or just to stop by. Thank you both so much. Sam.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Samantha Routheau is president of the Oconto Chamber of Commerce. Gary Zahn, organizer of Copperfest in Oconto. And thanks to them very much. Coming up, we're going to talk about some more summer events all around the state with our guest from the Department of Tourism. I'm Larry Mealer. Great to have you along today on WPR News. Summertime, it's spending a day at the lake and maybe catching a game at the ballpark, visiting a fair, county fair maybe. And after winter, if you're like me, you are ready to get outside and enjoy the beauty the state has to offer. Larry Mealer here. And today on the show, we're talking about some summer festivals and activities that are going around the state with Amanda Weibel, who is Communications Officer for Travel Wisconsin. And as we talk with Amanda, I hope you'll join in. Let us know what you're up to this summer. Maybe you have some traditions for this time of the year, or maybe you have a question about what's going on in a particular part of the state. Give us a call. The number is 800-642-1234. 800-642-1234. Email to talk@wpr.org. Amanda Weibel, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Larry. I'm so glad to be here.
What do you love about summer in Wisconsin?
Oh man, there is so much to love about summer in Wisconsin. I enjoy spending time outdoors in all four seasons, really. But there's something special about those longer days in summer. Can stay out and enjoy daylight a little bit more. So I'm looking forward to doing some hiking and biking. I love patio season at local restaurants and finding a new great ice cream shop. So I'm going to try to do a little bit of everything this summer.
I have to tell you that Secretary Sayers has often made me, humbled me, made me look like a dummy sometimes, with a game that you guys call Fest or Fiction. And I'm sure she told you about this game, and I'm ready to be humbled once again. So what do you have for me today?
It's going to be fun. I know you always have such a fun time playing. I'm so excited that I get to play Travel Wisconsin's game Fest or Fiction with you today. As you know, Wisconsin is home to some truly remarkable festivals. And so this is just a fun game to get to know some of the wacky ways we celebrate the season. And if you're listening at home and you're thinking, I want to play, I want to test my knowledge, you can actually play at travelwisconsin.com/fest or fiction.
Or you could play right now.
You can play right now. So I'm going to remind you the premise. The game is simple. I'm going to say the name of a festival. And Larry, it's your job to guess whether it is real or made up. And for the real festivals, I'll give you all the information. And for those that sound too good to be true, I will share about a similar sounding event that you can enjoy in Wisconsin. So Larry, are you ready to play Fest or Fiction?
I am ready to be humbled.
All right, let's see how you do today. So first one, Sovereign State Days, Fest or Fiction?
Sovereign State Days. I'm looking to Lee Rayburn to see if he doesn't know either. So I'm going to say no on that. I'm going to say fiction.
This is a real fest.
Oh no!
Yes.
How did I miss that? What? Well, tell me about it.
Yes, this is such a unique one. So if you travel to Winnebago County this summer, you can experience the community festival honoring a mapping error 58 years ago.
Oh.
So in 1967, the village of Winneconne was accidentally removed from the official state highway map, which led to local confusion and widespread attention. Well, they leaned into the mistake, and the leaders of Winneconne playfully declared themselves a sovereign state. So, of course, the impasse was ultimately resolved. It was restored on the map, but the community still celebrates the local lore each summer. So you can head to Winneconne the weekend of July 17th through the 20th. You're going to find all kinds of family fun at Sovereign State Days. You'll enjoy food trucks, fireworks, kid-friendly activities, even a parade. So much fun.
You know, I remember the story. I remember the map story, but how long has this Sovereign State Days been going on? Probably a long time.
It's a 58-year-long celebration. So, yeah, they have not forgotten. They have continued to celebrate this, which is so much fun.
You'd think that somebody who had lived here all that time would have known about that particular day. All right, well, but it sounds like a lot of fun to me. I mean,
oh, yeah. I love that they play it up still, that they still have a fun time with it. And you do not have to worry about any future mapping issues. The state highway map was actually just released, their latest edition, and they use GIS data to produce the most precise map ever. So they will not be forgotten again. And you can get yourself a map by visiting travelwisconsin.com.
Okay. Oh, you can. Oh.
Yes, yes.
I should have you send me one.
We can do that, Larry.
Send one over here to WPR.org, or I'm sorry, to Wisconsin Public Radio, 821 University Avenue, Madison, Wisconsin, 53704, I believe.
Perfect.
And put Larry Mealer on the top.
We will get you your highway map.
Okay. All right. Well, there's one. Give me another one.
All right. How about this next one? The Leaping of the Lambs, fest or fiction?
I know there's a one about sheep. I'm going to say fiction. Oh, I got one right. All
Correct. This one is fiction. But we do have a great option, the Roofing of the Goats in Door County. So this is an annual event that honors the celebrities of Sister Bay, the goats of Al Johnson's Swedish restaurant. You can travel to Door County on Saturday, June 14th for this unexpected festival. The day starts with a parade of the goats through Sister Bay. It culminates with the first roofing of the goats for the season. And throughout the day, there are all kinds of great festivities like kids' games, live music, great food, drinks, and a Swedish pancake eating contest as well.
Oh, those Swedish pancakes are really good. You know, I hosted my radio show from Al Johnson's resort one time, and they allowed me, I think it was for kind of publicity purposes, one thing or another, I got to climb up on the roof with the goats.
Wow.
And not everybody gets to do that.
Yeah, that's pretty special.
Oh, yeah, that's a great time of the year to be there too. Well, all right. So I got one right out of two.
One right. Yeah, you're doing great.
All right. What's the next one?
All right. UFO days, fest or fiction?
UFO days. I think there's one it might be southwestern Wisconsin. There was a place where a lot of people saw UFOs. I'm going to say there's a UFO days. All right. I got two right.
Correct. Well done. And Wisconsin has not just one, but at least two different UFO days. So one of them is in northwestern Wisconsin this summer. That's Elmwood's UFO Days. It's happening July 25th through the 27th. And Elmwood honors its local legend of being a hotspot for visiting aliens and UFOs. You can join the spirited celebration by dressing up in your best alien or astronaut costume. So have fun with that. And make sure that you visit for the Grand Parade. They have a bunch of different floats that take on UFO-inspired designs. And then in the fall, this might be the one you're thinking of, Larry, the Dane County community of Belleville hosts its own UFO Day as well. And that festival honors local sightings of UFOs and welcomes visitors from this planet or others on the last weekend in October. And then for one more extraterrestrial encounter, you can actually head to Cadott the weekend of June 6th and 7th for Force Fields. And that's a new alien-themed festival that's going to bring some of the hottest electronic music artists to Chippewa County.
Wow. Well, maybe they saw me drive through and thought I was a UFO or something. I'm not sure.
You know, I think that there were probably many other sightings too. So I don't know that you can take all the credit, Larry, but I think you should go help them celebrate.
And I think there's one somewhere that relates to Sputnik. You may not know this off the top of your head, but there was a piece of the original Sputnik.
Yes, it landed right outside the Rar West Art Museum in Manitowoc. And so they actually have a replica on display. Yeah.
All right. Well, you didn't ask me about it, but I threw that in just to let people know that I'm not entirely clueless when it comes to this. I got a bell that I probably didn't deserve there, but all right. So UFO days, really a lot of good-natured fun, and
Absolutely. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
everybody's got to be in a good spirit and a good mood and
Yes.
ready for fun.
Yes, I've been to the one in Elmwood, and it's fun to just see people dressing up, see people getting into it, eating some good food, enjoying some time together as a community.
I once when I was I think it was maybe I was 13 or 14. I made a paper mache, a big round globby head, and I painted it. I wonder if I could still get my head inside. Probably not. I'm sure it's up in the attic at our homestead somewhere. I don't think my mother would ever throw anything like that away. So I could dig that out and just join in
Yeah,
the fun.
you have another opportunity to use it now.
All these years later. Well, give me another one.
All right, I have one more for you.
All
The
right.
Liechtenstein Lamboozle, fest or fiction?
Liechtenstein Lamboozle?
Yes.
It sounds weird enough to be true.
That is the fun thing about this game, is that they do sound weird enough to be true, but this one is actually fiction.
Oh, is there anything like it anywhere?
Yes. So you can celebrate Wisconsin's connection to Europe during Luxembourg Fest this summer.
Oh, Luxembourg.
Yeah. The village of Belgium in Ozaukee County was founded by Luxembourgish immigrants, and the community annually honors its connection to the small European nation. And the royal family of Luxembourg even visits the village of Belgium from time to time. So they're really connected to this community. You can join other celebrants on August 7th through the 10th for what is billed as the world's largest Luxembourg family reunion. They have cultural demonstrations and displays. You can taste authentic Luxembourgish dishes and find plenty of entertainment to fill the weekend.
I wonder what a Luxembourgish dish would be. Is there, I don't know, fish involved?
I am not sure, but I think we're going to have to go to find out, Larry.
I think we will. Oh, well, that sounds like fun. And all these, these are such fun events. It's kind of fun to take the test, even though I only got half right. That's about average, I think.
Exactly. That's okay. That's okay. The best part is you learned of some new festivals to check out this summer.
You're exactly right about that. Amanda Weibel, our guest today, communications officer for Travel Wisconsin. If you have a question about where to go and what to do, give us a call. The number's 800-642-1234. Or you could email us to talk@wpr.org. I'm Larry Mealer for WPR News. Larry Mealer here with my guest, Amanda Weibel, Communications Officer for Travel Wisconsin. And again, if you have a question or a comment or maybe an experience to share, give a call, 800-642-1234. Email to talk@wpr.org. In our little break, Amanda, I was thinking about the many ways that we have to tell the stories of places here in the state and our history and historical sites. You've got tours and museums. What are some of the maybe newer experiences you can have at Wisconsin historical sites this season? Are there some?
Yeah, absolutely. This is such a great way to experience history firsthand. The Wisconsin Historical Society actually has 12 distinctive sites, and many of them do have new experiences this year. So if you've been to some of these in the past, there's an opportunity to come back and experience something new. The first one I want to mention is if you're looking to journey through Wisconsin's rich beer and brewing heritage, you're going to want to go to Eagle to Old World, Wisconsin. Old World, Wisconsin unveiled the Whitney Bell's Tavern last month, And so this is the first historic building that was relocated to the property since the 1990s. And it's this awesome experience to really immerse yourself in 1930s era tavern. You can enjoy some beer that was actually made at Old World Wisconsin's working brew house.
And, as someone who is not known to turn down a beer, I think it would be kind of fun to visit. Are there some historical beer-focused vacations in Milwaukee?
Definitely. Yeah. Milwaukee's a great destination if you want to really delve into the history of Wisconsin's brewing heritage. You can go behind the history of brewing with a tour of the Miller Brewery. And that includes a stop at the historic caves. You can choose from a variety of tour options, including their new experience that actually takes you to the heart of the Miller Brewery archives. And then you'll want to pair that with a visit to Pabst Mansion for more history from the gilded days of beer barons. You can take either a guided or a self guided tour of the mansion. It's a massive mansion and it was built for the Pabst family in the 1890s. It's full of ornate detail. It's absolutely stunning. And then you can complement the history lessons by spending the night at the original Pabst Blue Ribbon Brewery. So the Brew House Inn and Suites converted the Pabst Brewery into a modern hotel for an authentic Milwaukee experience. And then, of course, you can cap off your day with 24 taps and a satisfying dinner by visiting the Explorium Brew Pub in the 3rd Ward.
That's a lot. I think it was, the Blue Ribbon comes, Pabst won the Blue Ribbon in, what was it, 1893 or something? And the Pabst beer, and then they named it Pabst Blue Ribbon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Sounds right to me anyway. My great uncle had the job of being a beer taster at Foxhead 500. I think I remember. And he would have to taste each batch as it came out to check for quality and so forth. And that's something you probably didn't need to know.
Well, I think that's great. I mean, again, those connections to the beer industry are everywhere you look in Wisconsin.
Oh, man. I understand you want to tell us more about some museums in Manitowoc. I have that in my notes. What can you see in these museums, and why are they worth the visit?
Yeah, we brought up Manitowoc earlier, and I think it's worth talking about a little bit more. It's a community of about 35,000 right on Lake Michigan, but really packs a punch for museum lovers. Manitowoc is certainly the only city in Wisconsin and likely the only city in the country where you could see a calf being born, you can marvel at a Picasso, and spend the night on a World War II era submarine. You could do all of those things in one day in Manitowoc.
So there's a Picasso in Manitowoc.
Yeah, so the RAR West Art Museum, we talked about that earlier with its connection to Sputnik.
Oh,
So
right.
that's where you're going to find a replica of the Sputnik 4 satellite fragment, which crash landed just outside of the museum in 1960. But the museum itself is a destination. It holds artwork from famed painters like Pablo Picasso, as well as a number of work from George O'Keeffe.
That is very, very cool. And I don't think I've been there.
It's definitely one to put on your list. It's amazing. It's amazing. And then I mentioned the variety. You can see that amazing art. But then you've got the Farm Wisconsin Discovery Center just down the road. They have interactive displays to learn about agriculture. And they also have a birthing barn. So guests can actually come and witness a calf being born. They work with the area farmers to bring cows in. And there's a sound that goes off when the birth is about to happen. So if you're exploring in a different area of the museum, you can go check it out. So a pretty unique experience for folks to get to witness.
I grew up on a farm. I witnessed that many times.
Larry, I did too. And so I love that it's an experience that, is available for others too that didn't get to grow up on a farm and that didn't have that background, because I think it's something that is pretty amazing, certainly if it's not something that you've experienced before.
This month isn't it Great Outdoors Month?
Yes, yes, June is Great Outdoors Month. So it's a perfect time if you've been thinking about, where is my next hiking or biking adventure going to be? It's a great time to get outside. And Travel Wisconsin has a great resource to help you make those memories outdoors. It's the Wisconsin Trail Report. And so the Trail Report's a comprehensive tool for planning your hiking and biking trips. It's an interactive map that features more than 165 trail networks all around the state. And you can learn information about some general trail conditions as well as a description of the trail network. If you're on the biking report, you can find trails for both recreational cycling and mountain biking, but it really helps make planning out that trip a breeze because when you click on a destination on the map, you can also find nearby ideas for dining, for lodging, for entertainment and events. So it's a great resource. Plan your Great Outdoors Month getaway, and you can find it at travelwisconsin.com/trail report.
We have a lot of good trail. I've done a lot of biking all across the state. In fact, I did the great bike ride Grab-R, the 350 miles, I think it was, bike ride
Wow.
across, following the Wisconsin River from the top of the state to where it exits out into the Miss. And it was, and I've been in many others as well, but we have a lot of really good experiences when it comes to biking and hiking for sure. And this is I think this is the weekend, is it not, to be a good time to visit a state park?
It is, yes, because Free Fun Weekend is coming up. So, this is the annual event that encourages people to really get out and explore the Wisconsin State Park System. And visitors get free access to state parks, forests, and trails. That's on Saturday, June 7th and Sunday, June 8th. And this is a really special year to be getting out and enjoying our state parks because the Wisconsin State Park System is celebrating a huge milestone. They have been providing the public access to outdoor recreation for 125 years. So, Free Fun Weekend is really the perfect time. Go find a new park to explore and be part of that 125-year celebration. You can really easily find Wisconsin State Park properties by using that trail report that I mentioned. You can actually filter for Wisconsin State properties right there on the report.
Yeah, Jim Buckholtz wrote and put together a great book on the state parks of Wisconsin, and in fact we did a series of programs on the state parks. It's also a wonderful resource and brand new, as a matter of fact. So that's a good one too. Do you have a favorite state park, Amanda?
Oh wow! I mean that's a really tough question too. That's something that's so cool about our state park system. I mean, we have 50 to choose from, and they are all amazing. They all have their own draw. So I certainly, it's one of my goals to explore more of our state parks. I have not been to all 50 yet, but I would love to. So, I think some that are go-tos for me, Blue Mound State Park is maybe one that I think is a little underrated, but is a
Yeah.
hidden gem here in southern Wisconsin. The hiking trails are great. They've got observation towers. They actually have a pool in the state park too. So that's kind of a fun, unexpected amenity once you get into the park.
And in our last minute, there's a new sculpture in Wauwatosa. It's a troll. It was created by Thomas Dambo. Built troll sculptures all over the world, and he chose Wauwatosa for one.
Yes. Yeah, we're so fortunate. This was just, the construction just recently completed. So definitely go to Wauwatosa. Check out Thomas Dambo's latest troll. It's a 24-foot sculpture named Mama Rosa. She's made from locally sourced recycled wood, including trees from Wauwatosa's own parks, and it's nestled in that brand new Firefly Grove Park. So it's a sight to see. Thomas Dambo has made 135 troll sculptures worldwide. There are only 32 in the US. So this is a draw. People are going to come from near and far to get to experience this troll and so much more of what Wauwatosa and Wisconsin have to offer.
Well, Amanda, in the meantime, if you see a guy at UFO days with a big orange kind of paper mache head, you'll just come out over and say hi, Larry.
I'm going to keep an eye out for you.
Thank you so much. Amanda Weibel, Communications Officer for Travel Wisconsin, and she or our Secretary Sayers will be back for another visit. Thanks a lot for joining us today. All our shows a team effort. Our producers, Clara Neipert and Joel Patnaud. Technical directors, Lee Rayburn and Jeff Robbins. Our executive producers, Jill Nadeau. I'm Larry Mueller. Hey, it's been a lot of fun today. Thanks so much for being with us, and stay with us. Lots more in store here on WPR News.